Barcelona's tough choice, James Rodriguez Premier League future, the Champions League has been postponed, a transfer roundup and today's Thursday favourites all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. First off, and Barcelona have a rather tough choice to make, and again it's something we spoke about last week, and it's the choice between Neymar and Lautaro Martinez. According to fresh reports, Barcelona have admitted that they can't sign both of them. It will be over 250 million euros, plus they'd have to negotiate with both clubs, plus there'd be an extraordinary wage, plus they'd probably have to get rid of quite a few players if they're to satisfy both parties. For Neymar, it's about 150 million plus a player or two to PSG, maybe Antoine Griezmann, and for Lautaro Martinez, apparently they've already made an offer for around 80 million euros, plus the likes of Vidal, Rakitic or Nelson Semedo as well. Apparently Inter are holding out for 111 million euros. Now, there's a few things to consider between the two, and personally, I think Lautaro Martinez may just have the edge over Neymar. Firstly, he's 6 months younger. Secondly, he's going to cost about 40 million euros less. Thirdly, his wage is going to be a lot easier to handle, and, well, PSG will be a little bit more difficult to deal with than Inter Milan. Of course, we've spoken about how the fact that Barcelona did offer a few players, and it looks like Inter are going to be interested, whereas when it comes to Neymar from PSG, they don't really care who they're getting in return. The fact of the matter is they're going to be letting one of the best players in the world go, their prized asset, apart from Kylian Mbappe, and they're going to want a hell of a lot of money. Now, on the pitch, Neymar is the better player, yes, but as I mentioned before, Martinez is 6 years younger. He's got so many more years to give so much more to Barcelona. When it comes to Neymar, he's not really going to have much of a massive sell-on fee if they sell him in like 4 or 5 years. That's how many years they're going to get out of him. With Martinez, well, if he goes to be, another 10 years in the first team, that would bring him up to the age of Luis Suarez, and he's still going strong when he's not injured. So I kind of think that Martinez will probably be a better option. But this is Barcelona, this is the football transfer market, so who knows what's going to happen. But talking of big transfers, and James Rodriguez has a rather interesting decision to make. Now, during his 13 appearances at Real Madrid this season, things haven't gone spectacularly well, and it's probably why he's only been limited to 13. It's clear that even with Isco in brand new form, and of course 3 unbelievable Brazilian youngsters in the Real Madrid side, plus a whole load of other players, his future really is away from the Bernabeu, but it looks like it may be away from La Liga as well. According to latest reports, James has a choice of 3 clubs in the Premier League, the first being Arsenal. It's no secret that Mikel Arteta and Arsenal have been in for the Colombian before. They made an offer for him last summer, which, well, Zinedine Zidane thought he had bigger plans for James. As it turns out, he didn't, so he may be interested in move to the Emirates. Apparently, James is happy with the fact that Arsenal have shown interest in him, but he wasn't so interested then, although he may be now. The second choice could be Everton. Now, yesterday, loads you were like, surely Bale and Ramsey to Everton? That's got to be an April Fool. It wasn't. It was just a rumour. But does James seem any more likely? I mean, yes, they're going to have to pay his astronomical wage, but of course, Ancelotti wanted James at Napoli, and at Real Madrid, well, it's arguably James' best season in a Real Madrid shirt when Ancelotti was the manager. So, could he bring him to Goodison Park? I'm not so sure. It's not as likely as the Arsenal deal, but one team even more unlikely is that Wolverhampton Wanderers will sign him. Yes, Wolves have done something incredible since coming up for the Championship and consolidating their place in the Premier League and pushed for European football. They've done incredibly well, and it's no doubt down to the fact that one of their advisors, Jorge Mendes, well, he's got a big say in who goes where in the transfer market, and it just so happens he is the agent of James Rodriguez. Now, again, with the Everton thing, I mean, Wolves are going to have to not only break the bank to sign James, but absolutely demolish their internal wage structure to bring the Colombian in. I mean, surely he'll be on like 2 or 3 times more than any other player at the club. Having said that though, looking at Wolves on the transfer market, it's probably not that ridiculous. But away from transfers, next up and to the Champions League. Well, what was the Champions League? Now, UEFA President Alexander Ceferin did say that the Champions League would be postponed, but he'll be hoping for the finals to be played at the end of June. Now it looks like they've been postponed even further. During a press conference yesterday, there was much talk between all 55 members of UEFA discussing what's going to happen with the domestic league and what's going to happen with the Champions League and Europa League. It looks like the Champions League and Europa League have been postponed indefinitely. There isn't an end date for when they will be played, but apparently domestic leagues need to be completed by the 3rd of August before they're just scrapped altogether. Of course, this is because of the massive knock-on effect it will have with needing a pre-season, a transfer window and everything else before the season 2020-2021 starts. Of course, there is many differences in how these are going to be played out. Of course, the Champions League can be played in like a small mini tournament like the UEFA boss was suggesting. But when it comes to the Premier League and other domestic leagues, it's not so simple. First off, when it comes to the Champions League, you can literally get all 4 teams, 8 teams, however many there are left, into some sort of base camp and then have the games played at the same stadium behind closed doors, and there's not that many to play. When it comes to the domestic leagues, you've got teams from all around the countries travelling absolutely everywhere to play games, and you know fans are going to want to get involved. That, at the moment, seems completely impossible. If football is going to return in the next few months, I'm 99.9% certain there will be no fans involved. So next up, and the rest of the day's daily news, where West Ham are interested in signing Barcelona's Martin Braithwaite after he's only made 3 appearances at the club. We all know this really was going to be a long-term deal for the striker. Elsewhere, Zlatan Ibrahimovic says he doesn't even know what he wants at the end of the season, as he's considering a contract extension at AC Milan, leaving the club or retiring altogether. Borussia Dortmund have said they were just a signature away from signing Jude Bellingham, but now that transfer is being put on hold due to the coronavirus, obviously. And lastly but not least, a recommendation for you. If you haven't already, season 2 of Sunderland Till I Die is out on Netflix. If you need something to binge watch, you're missing football, and you need something to laugh about, well, it is absolutely perfect. Thank me later. So last but not least, Thursday favourites. This is a new segment on our Thursday daily show because, well, there's really no point in doing the power rankings as there's no football being played. You guys in last Thursday's comments section asked me loads and loads of questions, my top 5 of absolutely anything, and you can do the same down below. This week's Thursday favourite though comes from Alina Strezda. She's asked, what are your 5 favourite stadiums in Europe? Honestly, I'm fortunate enough to have been quite a few, and I'm going to leave the Tottenham ones out of this because you know it's going to be called bias. So, here we go. Top 5. First off, Benfica's Estádio da Luz. I think that's how you pronounce it. Unbelievable stadium in Portugal. Really, really nice. Great atmosphere, and yeah, it's just a really cool stadium altogether. Plus, Benfica are a good team to watch as well. Next up, and San Siro. Honestly, it is unbelievable. If you ever get the chance to go to Italy and go to the San Siro, it's like a cathedral of football. It's so old school. Everything about it's just amazing. Unfortunately, it looks like it may be in its last few years of use as the Milan Council look to build a brand new stadium, but for now, it's pretty damn cool. Third on the list now, talking of footballing cathedrals and footballing gods, the Nou Camp. Watching Lionel Messi at the Nou Camp, even though he only played 10 minutes against Spurs last season, was absolutely breathtaking. And yeah, again, it's really just an incredible, incredible stadium. I think it's got the biggest capacity in Europe at around 98,000. They want to make it even bigger. Honestly, just walking around, walking in the stadium, absolutely everything, it's just incredible. But talking of stadiums being incredible, to one that's not so amazing, but the atmosphere is utterly ridiculous. That Signal Iduna Park. Borussia Dortmund and their yellow wall make such a noise on game day. It's amazing from wherever you are in the stadium. Everyone can see the pitch. It's a great atmosphere, great football being played at Dortmund, and yeah, as I mentioned with all the other stadiums, if you can, you should go. It is amazing. And lastly but not least, my number 1, it's a stadium you can't go to anymore. It is the old Wembley Stadium. It was knocked down in 1999 and the new one was opened in 2007, and it's just not the same. Don't get me wrong, it's obviously only been 13 years or so. It takes a lot longer than that to build up history, but the old Wembley was just brilliant. The Wembley Towers are incredible. There was so much footballing history and you really got a sense of it around the place. The atmosphere was amazing. The FA Cup finals, the League Cup finals, the England internationals, just an incredible stadium and my favourite of all time. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts down below on Thursday favourites. What are your 5 favourite stadiums in Europe and which ones would you love to visit? Of course, you can let me know your thoughts on the rest of today's daily news as well. Whilst you're there, smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.